let's talk about Netflix. So Netflix, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, they decided that they wanted to separate their streaming service from their DVD and mail service.
Yeah.
And just two separate businesses, not even Netflix anymore. Just Netflix and Quickster was the name for their DVD service. And it just confused everybody because they were like, wait, I'm going to get two bills now for the same thing I've been paying for all this time. And they were like, yeah, you are going to. And people weren't sure what price they were going to pay anymore. And there was a recent price hike like a month or two before that people were really angry about. And in all this confusion, they lost 1 million customers. And then after a while, they went, actually, all this stuff we talked about, we're not going to do that anymore. How does this happen? What do you guys think was going through these guys' minds? I was following all this and just seeing like how they were losing customers everywhere. And then when they went back to just saying like, actually, all this stuff, we're just canceling everything, I was like, what the hell were you guys thinking? I just laughed out loud. I kind of understand why they were going to separate this, because I do think that streaming is the future. I don't think, the whole blockbuster experience of going to a freaking store and picking out the DVDs you want, I don't see that as being some, like, I feel like kids who are like 10 years younger than us are just kind of have no idea of what that is. So I kind of understand why they want to separate it and focus one group on one thing.
But separate just so they could close it down easier later. Like if you say it's the future, so they could have two.
I didn't think this Quickster thing was gonna last for too long. But one of the reasons why people were complaining, and why they wanted to keep the DVD thing, was because Netflix has had a lot of trouble in like the last year or two. With a lot of studios are saying like, oh, they're putting more conditions on it. Mm-hmm. So they're saying like, actually you can't stream anything unless it's like 28 days since the release date, things like that. And they keep getting tougher and tougher on the prices and the negotiation table. And the thing with the DVDs and mail is that those actually come out on the same day. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people will still want to keep that just to get the new releases and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
So that's one of the problems that a lot of people had. It was like, no, I still want to keep this DVD thing, but I don't want to get these two separate bills.
Yeah.
And it just felt, I think if it hadn't been for the price hike before, right before, people wouldn't have been so aggressive towards this move. Wouldn't have complained so much about it. But it's just like they felt like Netflix was really like screwing them over and over. And like 1 million customers. I mean, they still have like 20-some. I think it's like 22 other million customers that they kept.
Yeah.
But, like, if you start a business, 1 million customers is something you can dream about, you know what I mean? And to just lose that in, like, the space of a month, and after that month, nothing has changed,
I mean, 1 million customers will definitely give you even more customers, their friends and their friends' friends.
Yeah.
But they must have done some sort of analysis where older people, let's say over 50, don't want to operate their Netflix. Let's say their kids use Netflix, and they still want to rent the classic DVD and watch it that way.
My mom, she wouldn't even sign up for that. She just like refuses to learn. That's really hard.
Yeah.
So I tried to explain to her the zip.ca how she could like mailing, because she always sends me and my brother and my dad to go down to Jumbo Video. Like, do you guys have Jumbo Video here?
There was one Jumbo Video.
Okay, Jumbo Video's still around back.
At one Waterloo too.
Yeah. She's like always like, can you go? And then we have to go there on our phone and like read to my mom the titles that are there, and then she makes us go talk to the guy behind the counter. But like she wants that. So like could not convince her to do anything like Zip.ca. And then I was gonna do Netflix, but everyone warned me like Canadian Netflix is shit. And I looked online, I'm like, these are just terrible titles.
Yeah, the content isn't all that great.
It's limited, definitely, hugely.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's one of the things that hit Netflix too, is like in the US, that whole service is so much, that industry is so much more advanced than here, right? Because they don't only have Netflix. Like, that's basically all we have here is like Netflix and Zip.ca.
Right.
But over there, they've got like Hulu Plus. They've got Amazon streaming a whole bunch of stuff. Walmart is big, also, I think, streaming stuff. Yeah. All of these competitors, and so with all this competition, if you do something that like angers people, obviously they'll be like, well, why don't I just sign up with these guys, because they're all stable and I understand what the heck I'm getting from them,
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, like if they would have stuck to their guns, like after all this analysis, like you were saying, I would have kind of respected that. I'm like, okay, well, this is the plan they see going forward, and they're sticking to it despite what everybody's saying, despite all these like loss of customers. But then to just go back to that, to just go back to, I feel like it's so humiliating and embarrassing for them, you know. For
their timing, I think, was just horrible, and it's just it's like immature people running the company, not knowing, just trying to convince people to get excited about Netflix and then to go do something like that. Doesn't make sense. It's just you're making people's lives more complicated by just convincing them to use Netflix, and then by creating a separate company, people are just like, what the hell? I don't want to deal with this. Just unnecessary for sure.
Yeah, and they the price hike that they had before that, I do feel, and you were saying this earlier, that they're $8 a month. That wasn't sustainable. They kind of just did that to get people, and they have been, and they've almost been like too successful, I find, because now that they're getting so many customers, studios are really like, hey, we're being ripped off right now, because we're offering you this. And that's really one of the challenges that I see for Netflix going forward, is that as they get more popular, they're going to have to pay more and more for these movies. As they become like a bigger distribution center, if you will, it's just going to have to go up higher. And to be honest, like $8 a month, like that's really like nothing, I mean, I can see this going up to like $20 a month, and I think eventually that will be the norm. But for sure. Until we get to that, because Netflix started so low at $8 a month, I think they're going to lose so many customers on the way to get to that sustainable business model.
It'll easily take them 5-10 years before they turn a profit.
For sure.
Sirius Radio, I think, still hasn't turned a profit.
Over here they merged with the other one, XM Radio.
I lost so much money on that merger, but it was ridiculous.
You lost money on the merger?
They paid everyone hundreds of millions of dollars, Oprah, Howard Stern, hoping everyone would eventually sign up. Then iPods came out, iPod docs came out, Sirius was over. I mean, they're still around, they're still there. It's really cheap too, maybe $7, $9, $10 a month.
Yeah.
But I don't think, they might have had one quarter where they turned a positive result, but to my knowledge, they haven't had a single profitable quarter.
I guess it's the thing, right? Because like Sirius, you can choose what type of programming you want. But then there's so many people that do podcasts like this, right? There's so much. My point is, there's so much free content out there. So you just line up your podcast. You have an RSS reader that sets you up for your commute to work. Like, why do I want to pay for a monthly service when I just do this for free?
Yeah, I have an app on my iPod. It's a radio app, and I can get like radio stations from all over the world. I can listen to dance music from Ibiza or like Milan, Italy, and I've even got a record option and stuff like that. So I've got so much stuff that I still have to listen to on my iPod that I've never listened to yet. Yeah. So I don't see the point of like having to pay, a subscription to this content, because that is the thing that I think we're flooded with, almost to the point where like it's too much. It's just free content, like you were saying. You know what I mean? There's so much good free stuff out there right now.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be tough for like even like, well, to bring it back to Netflix. There's so many. Now I don't even have to like download shows. I can just go on like City TV's website and I can watch all the shows I want to. So I'm just like. And I don't watch that many shows. Like, I don't know what your lives are like, but I'm busy. There's only so many shows I can watch. Is it really worth it for me to pay $8 a month? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it's convenient to have that service. But it's not sustainable for Netflix, like we're saying, right? So, like, I think their base is almost too big right now.
Well, it's like kind of a, I don't know if business model is the right word, but it's kind of a shitty situation to be when you're Netflix, because like let's say something like a commodity like coffee, right? Like Tim Hortons, if they weren't getting along with who was sending them coffee beans, whatever, you change your supplier. But Netflix, if the studios say, yeah, you're super profitable, we're going to charge you more for access for these licenses, like Netflix has no negotiation room. Because like they're the sole supplier of that movie.
Exactly.
So they're really at the mercy of it.
They could just try like hire some like Japanese knockoffs or something, other stations used to do. Yeah, this is The Wire in Tokyo.
Or almost like you see that movie.
Same thing. Don't worry about it.
It's not Baltimore.
What
was the movie Jack Black? Be Kind, Please Rewind, or something like that. They're like, fine, we'll just make our own versions of it.
Yeah, might as well. Although, who was it that recently got into like making shows? Was it Hulu? I think it was Hulu, who are actually like, as they see this pressure coming up, they're actually like creating their own shows. You know, they're actually paying for pilots and stuff like that. And yeah, cool. Like the whole industry is really changing. And I think that's what Netflix should be going almost towards. It's really like, instead of just being the middleman, because that's what they really are, right? There's the people who create the show, there's the people who watch it, and they're kind of in the middle facilitating the streaming of it. But at some point, I think it's going to converge to the point where the distributor is also the creator, but instead of going through a TV channel or something like that, they're really going to go through the internet, because I think that's where everything is going, just the cloud.
It's like these companies, they just sit there like Sirius and Netflix, and they're just like, we're going to charge $10 a month, and we're just going to hope all of America signs up.
Yeah.
But they just don't think ahead. Obviously, Sirius couldn't see the wave of iPods, but they're going to be like, hey, we're going to pay Howard Stern $100 million a year, charge $60 a receiver, and maybe people will pay us $9 a month. No, like that didn't work. Obviously not. We'll give free trials on all new cars. That didn't work either.
Yeah.
You know, Netflix, like they charge cheap, but that's kind of the status quo. They got to kind of think ahead. How do they, you know, pay less licensing or include more streaming that way, or do a merger with Hulu, anything they can to stay alive.